Aaron always thought life at the edge of human space would be quiet. The colony outpost where he worked was small, built more for maintenance than exploration. His job was simple: check equipment, fix broken systems, and keep the old machines running. The outpost stood on a lonely moon circling a gas giant, far from the busy trade routes. Most days passed slowly, with only the sound of humming engines and the occasional static of the long-range receivers. But on this night, things were different. Aaron climbed the narrow ladder of the comm tower, a tool belt around his waist. A storm of charged particles from the giant planet had damaged one of the satellite dishes, and the signals had turned weak. He tightened a few loose cables, then checked the screen on his portable scanner. The dish hummed back to life, stronger than before. At first, the signals that returned seemed normal, ordinary transmissions from nearby human stations. Then, hidden among the noise, he noticed something strange. A series of sharp pulses, spaced evenly, with a rhythm too precise to be random. Aaron frowned. He adjusted the scanner, clearing the static. The pulses became a clear pattern, almost like coded words. He wasn't trained in advanced encryption, but his curiosity grew stronger than caution. He routed the signal through the outpost's main console and waited. Lines of alien symbols filled the screen. The shapes were curved and flowing, nothing like human writing. Aaron felt a chill on his skin. His first thought was that it must be a mistake, some artifact of the signal. But then the symbols rearranged themselves into coordinates, star positions he recognized from his navigation maps. The coordinates were not random. They marked paths across the neutral zone of space, routes no human ships were supposed to travel. Aaron leaned closer, his heart beating faster. He saw clusters of arrows and marks that resembled fleets on the move. He did not understand the details, but the meaning was clear enough. Someone out there was planning secret operations, and those operations were not human. He rubbed his forehead, unsure of what to do. If he reported this, the Central Command might laugh at him or accuse him of tampering. The colony was small, and he was just a technician. No one would believe he had uncovered something this large. Yet he could not ignore it either. The signals grew clearer as the dish locked tighter onto the source. More coordinates, more fleet movements. Some paths pointed dangerously close to human colonies. A sudden noise broke his focus. The door at the base of the tower hissed open. Aaron froze. No one else was supposed to be awake at this hour. He quickly shut down the screen and clipped the scanner back to his belt. He climbed down the ladder, every step heavy with unease. The corridor lights flickered as he stepped inside the outpost. He glanced around, expecting to see one of his fellow workers. But the hallway was empty. "Hello," he called out, his voice echoing through the narrow walls. No answer. Aaron shook his head. Maybe it was just the automatic door cycling on its own. The systems here were old, and malfunctions were common. Still, he felt uneasy. The strange signals were heavy on his mind, and now even small sounds put him on edge. He returned to the control room and sat at the console. His hand hovered over the transmit button. He could send the data to Central Command, but he hesitated. If the signals truly belonged to an alien fleet, then whoever sent them would not want humans listening. A thought crept into his mind: what if they already knew someone was listening? The idea made him shiver. He tried to push it away, telling himself he was just tired. He leaned back in his chair and closed his eyes, deciding he would think more clearly in the morning. But before he could rest, the lights dimmed again. A soft hum filled the air, not from the outpost systems, but from outside. The sound was low, like the vibration of a massive engine. Aaron rushed to the window and looked into the dark sky. Above the gas giant's glow, a sleek shape drifted silently. It was no human ship, too smooth, too refined. Its surface shimmered with faint light, like flowing water. His breath caught in his throat. The ship moved without sound, hovering just beyond the colony's perimeter. Aaron stepped back from the window, panic rising inside him. He had seen too much already. The signals, the fleet movements, and now this ship. It was no coincidence. The hum grew louder, and the air inside the control room seemed to thicken. A column of pale light shimmered near the center of the floor. Aaron's instincts told him to run, but his legs felt frozen. The light expanded, forming a doorway. A figure stepped through, tall and graceful. She was unlike anyone he had ever seen. Her skin carried a faint glow, and her eyes shone like silver under the dim lights. Aaron's mind raced. He had no weapon, no plan, no idea what this meant. He only knew one thing: the transmissions were real, and now the sender had come to claim them. The alien woman fixed her gaze on him. Her voice was calm, but carried a weight of authority. "You have seen what you should not have," she said. "And now, your life is no longer your own." Aaron swallowed hard, realizing his quiet life at the edge of human space had ended in a single night. Aaron could not move. The alien woman stood before him, her tall figure outlined by the fading light that had brought her into the room. Her presence was both graceful and commanding, like she had stepped out of a world far beyond his reach. Her eyes, bright and silver, did not blink as they studied him. Her armor glimmered faintly, smooth and layered like it was grown rather than built. In her hand, she carried no weapon that he could see, yet something about her posture told him she did not need one. "You listened to signals that were not yours," she said in a steady voice. "You should not have seen them." Aaron's mouth went dry. He forced his words out, weak and broken. I didn't mean to. I was just repairing the dish. I didn't know it would find that." The woman tilted her head, almost curious. "Intentions do not matter. Knowledge does. You have seen too much. That cannot be undone." Aaron's mind raced. He thought of running, but where could he go? She had stepped out of a ship that hovered silently above the colony. Even if he escaped this room, she could catch him before he reached the outer airlocks. His hands trembled at his sides. "What are you going to do to me?" he asked. For a long moment, she did not answer. Then, she stepped closer, her movements smooth and quiet. Aaron felt the air shift as she approached. He wanted to back away, but his legs refused to obey. Finally, she spoke. "My name is Solara. I serve my people as guardian and commander. The transmissions you uncovered belong to us. They reveal movements of enemies who would bring war. By touching them, you placed yourself in danger. Others will seek you now, and they will not show patience." Her words fell heavy on Aaron's shoulders. He had thought the signals were strange, but now he understood. They were not just messages. They were threads in a secret war. And somehow, he had pulled on one of those threads. Aaron shook his head. "I'm just a worker here. I don't know anything. If you want, I'll forget what I saw. I'll destroy the recordings. No one will ever know." Solara's expression did not soften. "It is not so simple. Forgetting will not protect you. Your presence was already marked the moment you opened the signal. They will come, and when they do, you will not stand against them." Aaron's heart pounded faster. "Then why are you here?" "To silence me." A faint glimmer crossed her eyes, something like a shadow of amusement. "If I wished that, it would already be done. No, I am here because your life is now tied to this path. You are not my enemy, but you cannot be left alone." Aaron could not decide if those words brought him comfort or fear. He wanted to believe she meant no harm, but her tone carried no kindness either. She spoke like someone used to giving orders, someone who expected obedience without question. "You mean to take me with you?" he said slowly. "Yes," Solara replied. "Your world cannot shield you from what you have touched. If you remain here, you will be hunted. If you come with me, you will live, though your life will no longer be simple. Aaron looked around the small control room. The blinking lights, the worn panels, the hum of the old systems. This place had been his whole world. He had planned to live quietly, far from the troubles of greater colonies. But now, with one mistake, that peace was gone. He tried to stand firm. I don't want to leave. This is my home. Solara stepped closer, and he could feel the calm force in her presence. You may not want to leave, but you must. The choice is not yours to make anymore. Control of your path has passed beyond you. The words stung, but deep inside, Aaron knew she was right. If others were coming, he would not survive alone. And even if he stayed, he could never unsee what he had discovered. His quiet life was already broken. What happens if I refuse? He asked, though his voice lacked strength. Solara's eyes did not waver. Then you will face what comes. And I will not remain to protect you. Aaron felt the weight of silence after her words. He imagined strange ships descending, enemies hunting him like prey, the outpost torn apart. His throat tightened. At last, he nodded weakly. If I go, what will happen to me? You will learn, Solara said. You will see what lies beyond the borders of your kind. You will understand why knowledge has a price. She raised her hand, and once more the pale light shimmered in the center of the room. It expanded like a doorway, leading into the unknown. Aaron hesitated. His instincts screamed to stay, to cling to the life he knew. But his mind told him there was no safety left here. He stepped toward the light, each foot heavy with doubt. Solara walked beside him, her presence firm and unshaken. As the glow surrounded him, Aaron cast one last glance at the control room, at the outpost, at the life he was leaving behind. Then the light swallowed him, and the room was gone. When Aaron opened his eyes, the world had changed. The pale light faded, and he found himself standing inside a vast chamber of smooth metal walls. The air smelled different, sharp and clean, and the floor beneath him hummed as though alive. Solara stepped forward with calm certainty, as if this place belonged to her. Aaron stumbled after her, his heart still racing. He turned his head in every direction, staring at the strange ship that now surrounded him. The chamber was not like any human vessel he had seen. The walls curved upward in flowing arcs, and faint streams of light ran through them like veins. There were no bolts, no seams, no signs of human craft. Everything seemed grown rather than built, as if the ship itself was alive. Aaron whispered, "Where am I?" "You are aboard my vessel," Solara replied without turning. "It will carry us away from this place before others arrive." Aaron swallowed hard. He pressed his hand against the wall, feeling the faint vibration under his palm. "So this is it? I'm your prisoner now." Solara finally faced him, her silver eyes calm but firm. "Not prisoner. Necessary witness. You saw what was hidden. That alone makes you part of this." Aaron shook his head. "I don't want to be part of anything. I was just fixing a dish. I never asked for this." "No one asks for destiny," Solara said. "It comes whether you wish it or not." Her words carried weight, but they did not comfort him. Aaron felt like a bird caught in a storm, powerless to escape. He followed Solara down a passage that glowed faintly under their feet. Strange symbols flickered on the walls as they walked, responding to her touch. At last, they entered a wider chamber filled with smooth consoles and shining displays. Outside the clear wall of the chamber stretched the stars, brighter than he had ever seen them. The giant planet and his small outpost already lay far behind. Aaron pressed his hand against the glass, a mix of awe and fear filling him. "I should be back there. My life was simple. Now it's gone." Solara moved her hand over a panel, and the stars outside shifted as the ship glided forward. "Your life was never safe after you touched the transmissions. The enemy would have come. You must understand this, what you saw was not meant for your kind. Those signals showed the hidden fleets of a faction that seeks to burn both my world and yours. If they succeed, your colonies will not stand. Aaron stared at her, his chest tightening. You mean, they're planning war? Against humans too? Solara nodded. Yes. Your kind believes the borders are calm, but that peace is a lie. There are powers beyond your sight, and some would see humanity destroyed before it grows too strong. Aaron sat heavily on a curved bench near the wall, his thoughts spinning. He had imagined his discovery was important, but hearing her words made it feel far heavier. A secret war, hidden fleets, enemies who wanted his people wiped out. And now he was tied to all of it? He raised his head, his voice rough. So what happens to me now? You drag me across space, and then what? Do you use me as proof? As bait? Solara regarded him without anger. You are not bait. You are witness. If my people succeed, perhaps you will one day speak to your leaders, so they will understand. But until then, you remain with me. It is the only way to keep you alive. Aaron let out a bitter laugh. Alive, but not free. That sounds like a prisoner to me. Solara's gaze did not waver. If you try to run, the enemy will find you. If you resist, you will not last. I keep you here because survival requires it. You may call that prison if you wish, but it is still protection. Her certainty frustrated him, yet deep inside, he knew she was right. Alone, he would not survive. Still, the thought of being under her control made him restless. He clenched his fists. I don't trust you, he said. You do not need to, Solara answered. Trust is earned in time. For now, you only need to accept that without me, you are already dead. Her words were sharp, but not cruel. They sounded more like truth than threat. Aaron hated that he could not argue against them. Silence filled the chamber, broken only by the soft hum of the vessel. Aaron leaned back, staring out at the stars. He had dreamed once, as a child, of traveling far from home, of seeing new worlds. But this was not adventure. This was being dragged into danger he did not choose. Finally, he asked quietly, and if I refuse to help you? Solara looked at him, her expression unreadable. Then you will still remain by my side. Whether you help or not, you cannot escape what is coming. But in time, you may see why you are here. Aaron turned away, unwilling to answer. He felt trapped between fear and unwilling duty. He was not brave, not special, not a fighter. He was just a worker who had fixed an antenna on the wrong night. Yet now, the fate of whole colonies might brush against his small life. As the ship cut through the stars, Aaron realized his path was no longer his own. Solara had taken control, and he had no choice but to follow. Aaron had never seen anything like the station. As Solara's vessel approached, the stars gave way to a massive shape that hung in the void like a dark crown. It was not built in straight lines like human stations. Its structure curved outward in long arcs, glowing faintly with streams of blue light. Towers of metal and crystal reached out into space, each one alive with activity. Dozens of ships, some sleek and some heavy, moved in and out of the docking rings. Aaron pressed his face close to the clear wall of the chamber. His heart raced with both fear and awe. That's no outpost, he whispered. It's a whole city. Solara's voice was calm beside him. This station is called Luryan. It serves as meeting ground for many. You will stay here until decisions are made. Aaron frowned. Decisions about me? Solara gave a short nod. Yes. There are those who will question why I brought a human here. They will see risk. But they must also see truth. Her words made his stomach twist. He had imagined that once they reached this place, maybe he would find safety. but now it sounded like he would be put on trial before strangers who already distrusted him. The ship slid into one of the docking arms. When the hatch opened, Aaron stepped out onto a smooth platform. The air was filled with sounds, strange voices, echoes of machines, and the distant hum of engines. Beings of many forms walked the wide halls. Some were tall and slender, others short and broad, their skins shining in colors he had never known could belong to living creatures. Their eyes turned toward him as he walked beside Solara. Whispers followed in languages he did not understand, but the tone was clear. Suspicion. Dislike. Fear. Aaron kept his head low, trying not to stumble. His hands shook at his sides. He felt small, fragile, out of place in every way. Solara walked with steady steps, her presence enough to keep others from drawing too close. She led him through high doors into a chamber unlike any he had seen. The walls glowed with soft light, and at its center stood a long table surrounded by figures of different species. Some wore flowing robes, others armor, and some no clothing at all. Their eyes followed Solara first, then shifted sharply toward Aaron. One of them, a tall being with deep green skin and golden markings on its face, spoke in a heavy voice. "Why do you bring a human here, Solara? Their kind are unready. They know nothing of our wars." Another, with pale wings folded at its back, added coldly, "You risk exposing all to a people still blind to the wider stars. Why should this one be allowed to walk among us?" Aaron's chest tightened. He wanted to speak, but his voice felt trapped in his throat. He looked at Solara, hoping she would answer for him. And she did. "This human has seen what he should not. He uncovered transmissions meant only for us. The enemy marked him the moment he did. To leave him behind would have been to condemn him to death. I brought him because knowledge cannot be erased. Only guided." The chamber filled with murmurs. Some nodded, while others shook their heads in doubt. The green-skinned figure leaned forward. "If the enemy hunts him, he is a danger to all of us. His very presence may draw them here." Aaron felt his knees weaken. He wanted to protest, to beg them not to cast him out, but fear locked his tongue. Solara stood taller, her voice firm. "He is not danger. He is proof. Humans believe their borders are safe. But when the enemy strikes, they will not be ready. This one has seen the truth. One day, he can show his kind what lies beyond their blindness. That is not a weakness. That is strength." Her words cut through the chamber. Silence followed. For the first time, Aaron saw that she was not only a warrior. She was also a defender, willing to stand against her own people if she believed it right. Finally, an elder figure with crystal-like skin spoke. Its voice was soft but clear. "The human may stay for now. But he will be watched. His value is yet to be proven." Reluctant nods followed around the table. Some still glared at Aaron, but none spoke further against Solara. The meeting ended, and Solara guided Aaron out of the chamber. He walked in silence, his head spinning. Once they were alone in the corridor, he finally found his voice. "They were ready to throw me away like I'm nothing," he said bitterly. Solara looked at him. "To them, you are unknown. Unknown brings fear. But you are not nothing. Remember this, I stood for you, and I will again if I must." Aaron met her gaze, unsure of what to say. A small part of him felt grateful, though he still could not trust her fully. As they walked deeper into the station, past the strange beings and the glowing halls, Aaron realized his life had crossed into a world he had never imagined. He was no longer just a worker from a quiet outpost. He was now the center of debates in an alien council, his fate tied to decisions beyond his control. And though Solara walked beside him, steady and strong, he knew that his journey was only beginning. Life on the station was strange for Aaron. Days blurred together inside the vast halls where hundreds of alien species moved with purpose. He kept to Solara's side, not daring to wander too far. Even when he walked quietly, he felt the eyes of strangers on him. Whispers followed him, sharp and cutting. He does not belong. Too soon for humans. Solara takes risks. The words were not always in his language, but tones spoke loudly. Solara noticed his unease, yet she never showed doubt. She walked through the station with calm strength, her silver eyes steady, her voice always clear when others questioned her. To most, she was a commander to be respected. But Aaron saw something more. He saw the weight she carried, the pressure of standing alone in defense of him. One evening, as they returned from another long meeting, Aaron lingered outside the chamber while Solara spoke with an ally. The corridor was quiet, lit by a soft blue glow from the walls. He leaned against a pillar, his mind heavy with worry. That was when he heard voices nearby. Two figures stood in the shadow of an archway, speaking in low tones. Aaron stepped back, trying not to be noticed, but their words drifted toward him. "She grows reckless," one voice said, sharp and bitter. "Bringing a human here, trusting him, defending him before the council. It will ruin her standing." "She has forgotten her duty," the other replied. "Our enemies will see weakness in her choices. We cannot let her continue." Aaron's breath caught. He pressed himself closer to the wall, his heart racing. He could not see their faces clearly, but their meaning was clear enough. They were speaking about Solara. "She plans a mission soon," the first voice continued. "It will be the moment to act. A mistake will be arranged. No one will question it if she falls in battle." The two figures moved away, their words fading into the hum of the corridor. Aaron stood frozen, his hands shaking. He had no proof, only the echo of their voices in his mind. But the threat was real. Solara had enemies among her own people. When she returned moments later, her expression calm as always, Aaron almost blurted out what he had heard. But fear stopped him. What if she thought he was lying? What if she turned against him? He was still just a stranger to her, a human caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. That night, Aaron lay in the small quarters given to him, staring at the strange patterns glowing softly on the ceiling. He wrestled with his thoughts. He could stay silent and hope nothing happened, but if Solara was betrayed, he would be left alone in a place where no one else wanted him. And deep down, he knew she had saved his life. She had stood for him when no one else would. He owed her more than silence. The next day, Solara led him toward the docking ring. "We leave soon," she said. "There are enemy movements near the border. My unit must intercept them." Aaron hesitated, then spoke quickly. "Solara, there's something you need to know." She stopped, her eyes narrowing. "What is it?" Aaron's voice shook, but he forced the words out. "I heard two of them last night. They were talking about you. They said you're reckless, that you're risking too much. And they said they would make sure you don't return from this mission." For the first time since he met her, Solara's calm expression shifted. Her eyes sharpened, and a cold silence fell between them. She studied him, as though weighing his honesty. "You are certain?" she asked. Aaron nodded quickly. "Yes. I didn't see their faces, but I heard enough. They're planning something." Solara's gaze softened slightly, though her voice stayed firm. "You had a choice to remain silent. Yet you told me. Why?" Aaron swallowed. "Because you stood for me when no one else did. If you fall, I don't stand a chance here. And maybe I just don't want to see you betrayed." A faint, almost invisible curve touched the edge of her lips, though it vanished quickly. "You speak truth. That is rare here." Solara touched a panel on the wall, summoning a stream of glowing symbols. "If what you say is true, then this mission will not only test my skill, but my enemy's reach. Stay close to me, Aaron." If they strike, you must not be apart from me. Aaron's chest tightened, but he nodded. I understand. Later, as the ship left the station and stars stretched across the view, Aaron felt both fear and a strange sense of pride. For the first time since this all began, he had done more than survive. He had acted. And though Solaris still held the control, something had shifted. He was no longer only a burden. In her eyes, perhaps, he was becoming an ally. The mission began with silence. Solaris' ship drifted near the edge of human territory, its dark hull blending against the stars. Aaron sat in the observation seat, his eyes fixed on the faint glow of a colony far below. It was one of the smaller human outposts, much like the one he had left behind. Solaris stood at the console, her silver eyes sharp as streams of data crossed the screen. Her soldiers, quiet and disciplined, moved around her, preparing for what was coming. Aaron's chest tightened. You said there was movement near this outpost. Do you mean, the enemy? Solaris gave a single nod. Yes. They move faster than I expected. We must be ready. Before Aaron could ask more, alarms broke through the silence. The console flashed red, and Solaris' voice hardened. They are here. Through the white glass, Aaron saw them, dark shapes cutting across the stars, sleek ships with jagged edges that seemed to drink in the light. They moved in formation, heading straight for the human colony below. Aaron's breath caught. They're going to attack. The people down there, they don't even know. Solaris soldiers prepared weapons, their voices calm despite the rising danger. But Solaris herself remained focused, her commands precise. Engage, she ordered. Her ship leapt forward, cutting across the path of the invaders. Aaron gripped the armrests as energy beams lit the sky. The alien vessel shook as enemy fire struck against its shields. Solaris' crew returned fire, bursts of white light flashing across the darkness. The battle unfolded in silence, the vacuum carrying only vibration and light. Yet Aaron's thoughts were not on the fight. His eyes stayed fixed on the human colony below. He imagined the people working in their domes and fields, unaware of the danger above their heads. They trusted that the galaxy was safe. They had no idea war was already reaching for them. Aaron turned to Solaris. We have to warn them. They don't even know what's happening. Solaris' eyes never left the console. If they see me, if they learn of my people too soon, it may cause panic. The council forbids contact. Aaron shook his head, anger rising inside him. What good are rules if people die? If you don't tell them, then I will. For the first time, Solaris turned her full gaze on him. Her silver eyes glowed with both firmness and something else, hesitation. She studied him as if weighing not only his words but his spirit. At last, she spoke. You believe your leaders will listen to you? Aaron's voice trembled, but he forced the words out. They have to. I've seen the truth. And if I don't speak, no one else will. The ship shuddered under another wave of fire, but Solaris' attention stayed on him. In that moment, the battle outside seemed secondary to the decision between them. Finally, Solaris gave a sharp breath. Then speak. I will give you the chance. She touched the console, and a channel opened. The human colony's communication feed came alive. Aaron's reflection stared back at him in the small screen, pale and tense. He swallowed, then began to speak. This is Aaron of Outpost 12. Listen carefully. You are under attack, and the enemy is not human. You must prepare. This is not a drill. This is real. His voice cracked, but he continued. I know this is hard to believe. I didn't believe it either, until I saw it with my own eyes. But I'm telling you now, the galaxy is not as safe as you think. If you don't act, you will fall. For a moment, silence answered him. Then the human commander's face appeared, full of disbelief. Who is this? What nonsense is this transmission? Aaron clenched his fists. He leaned closer to the screen. It's the truth. Ships are already here. Look to the sky. If you wait, it will be too late. Even as he spoke, flashes of the battle appeared near the colony's orbit. The commander's expression changed from doubt to alarm. Orders rang out behind him. Human defense ships began to rise from the colony surface. Solara closed the channel, her expression unreadable. You have done it. They will now see the truth with their own eyes. Aaron sank back into his seat, his body shaking. He had never spoken with such urgency before, never felt so much weight in his words. The battle raged on, but with human ships joining the fight and Solara's forces holding the line, the enemy soon pulled away. Their dark vessels retreated into the void, leaving silence once more. Solara stood tall, her voice calm. They will come again. But now, your people cannot pretend. The veil is broken. Aaron looked at her, exhaustion in his eyes but also a spark of something new. For the first time. I think they'll believe me. Solara met his gaze, and for the first time, she did not speak with authority over him. Instead, she gave a small nod of respect. You spoke with courage, she said. Perhaps this is why fate placed you here. Aaron lowered his head, not sure he deserved her words. Yet in his heart, he knew something had changed. He was no longer just a human who had seen too much. He had become a voice between two worlds. And the war was only beginning. The colony was awake now. Lights blazed across its domes, and defense ships rose like sparks into the sky. Yet even as Aaron watched, he knew this was only the beginning. The enemy had retreated, but they would not remain gone for long. Solara stood at the center of her command deck, her posture steady though her soldiers whispered of heavy losses. She studied the stars in silence. The silver glow of her eyes carried the weight of centuries of war. Aaron approached her, his voice quiet but firm. They will come back, won't they? Yes, Solara replied. And in greater numbers. They tasted resistance tonight, and they will answer with fury. Aaron's fists tightened. Then we have to fight together. Your people and mine. Alone, neither of us will last. Solara turned to him. You speak of unity, but humans are not ready. They see only fragments of the truth. Aaron met her gaze. Then we show them the whole truth. If you want my people to survive, you cannot hide anymore. The room fell silent. Solara's soldiers shifted uneasily, some glancing at her, others at Aaron. At last, Solara raised her hand, and the murmurs stopped. You speak boldly, human, she said. Perhaps too boldly. But I see no other path. Before Aaron could answer, alarms roared once more. On the white glass of the command screen, countless dark ships emerged from the void. The enemy had returned, larger and stronger than before. Aaron's breath caught. There are so many. Solara's voice sharpened. Prepare all weapons. This time, there will be no retreat. The alien vessel surged forward, joined by smaller crafts of Solara's people. But this time, human defense ships flew alongside them. The sight was strange and powerful, two civilizations that had never trusted each other now standing together. The first clash was brutal. Light streaked across the dark as beams and missiles tore through the silence of space. The enemy pressed hard, their jagged ships moving with ruthless precision. Explosions rippled through the battlefield, painting the stars with fire. Aaron gripped the side rail as the ship shook violently. He had never imagined himself in a war like this, yet now he stood at its center. Every flash of destruction felt like a blow to his chest. Solara commanded with calm authority, her voice cutting through the storm. Hold the line. Target their wings. Break their formation. Her soldiers obeyed, and human pilots echoed her commands, weaving their ships alongside hers. For the first time, humans fought not as strangers but as allies. Aaron's eyes widened as he saw a human vessel strike down an enemy craft just as Solara's soldiers covered them from behind. The two forces moved as one, and slowly, the enemy's advance began to falter. But the battle was far from won. The enemy flagship loomed, larger than any other, its dark hull gleaming with cruel strength. It pushed forward, firing blasts that tore through both human and alien lines. Solara's ship trembled as a strike hit close. Sparks flew across the command deck, and a soldier cried out in pain. Aaron rushed to help, pulling the injured man back to safety. His hands shook, but his resolve grew. "Solara," he called, his voice loud over the alarms, "we have to take down that flagship. If it falls, the rest may break." Solara's eyes locked on the massive vessel. She gave a sharp nod. "Then that is our target." The ship turned, engines roaring as they raced toward the enemy's heart. Human fighters cleared a path, and Solara's soldiers poured every weapon they had into the attack. The flagship answered with fury, its blasts shaking them to the core. Aaron stood at Solara's side, gripping the console. "We won't get another chance. This has to work." Solara's fingers flew across the controls. "Then we give everything." Together, human and alien ships launched their final strike. The battlefield lit up as wave after wave of energy slammed into the flagship. At first, it held, its shields blazing like fire. But then, cracks spread across its surface. One final strike from Solara's ship pierced deep into its core. A burst of white light consumed the vessel. The flagship broke apart, fragments scattering into the void. For a long moment, the battlefield was silent. Then, as if struck by fear, the remaining enemy ships turned and fled into the stars. Cheers erupted across the command deck. Human voices and alien voices mixed as one, victory ringing in the air. Aaron let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Solara stood tall, though her eyes softened as she looked at him. "It is done. For now." Aaron nodded, his chest heavy with both relief and exhaustion. "We won. Together." Solara's gaze lingered on him. "Your people will ask questions. They will demand answers." Aaron smiled faintly. "Then we give them the truth. No more secrets. No more hiding." Solara was quiet for a moment, then gave a slow nod. "Perhaps that is what the stars intended." The battlefield quieted. Ships returned to their colonies, wounded carried to safety, and fires slowly faded. Yet something new had been born amid the destruction. Two civilizations, once divided by secrecy and mistrust, had stood together and survived. And at the center of it all stood a single human who had seen more than he should have, and an alien woman who had taken control. For both of them, the war was not the end but the beginning of a new chapter between their worlds.